Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
This week, we decided who needs to diet to stop the apocalypse in A Knock at the Cabin.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we post new episodes.
Knock at the Cabin is a 2023 American apocalyptic psychological horror film written, directed, and produced by M. Night Shyamalan, who wrote the screenplay from an initial draft by Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman. It is based on the 2018 novel The Cabin at the End of the Woods by Paul Tremblay, which is the first adaptation of his works. In the film, a family is vacationing at a remote cabin when they are suddenly held hostage by four strangers who ask them to do something unimaginable. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 67% with a critical consensus that states, although it's often less than scary and parts of the story don't bear scrutiny, Knock at the Cabin is a thought-provoking chiller and upper-tier Shyamalan. It has a 63% audience score, with audience says, the plot might be a little underwhelming, but solid acting and plenty of suspense make Knock at the Cabin a decently entertaining watch.
7-year-old Wen is on vacation with her parents, Eric and Andrew, at a secluded cabin in rural Pennsylvania. While catching grasshoppers outside, she meets a man named Leonard who gently tells her that he and his friends need her family's help to prevent a global catastrophe. Yeah, I'm not equipped for that, but I'm sure the 7-year-old can take it.
Oh,
Take it, Wen. Take it, Wen. Soon after, Leonard and three others, Sabrina, Adrian, and Redmond, force their way into the cabin with improvised weapons. They restrain Eric and Andrew, and in the struggle, Eric has an ouchie and we find he has a concussion.
Leonard and the others insist they don't intend to hurt the family, but claim they've been compelled by powerful visions to find them. According to these visions, the world is on the brink of an apocalypse involving massive floods, a deadly pandemic, and other disasters. Oh, you mean like how it is every day?
A world on fire.
The only way to stop it, they say, is for Eric, Andrew, or Wen to willingly sacrifice one member of their family. If they refuse, humanity will perish, and only the three of them will survive. Oh no, oh darn, poor humanity.
Or no, I never stop.
When the family refuses to choose, the intruders kill Redmond, who willingly gives his life. Eric sees a mysterious figure of light at the moment of Redmond's death that in no way, shape, or form could have possibly been caused by his concussion.
Shortly after, news reports show massive tsunamis devastating coastal cities. Andrew suspects Redmond is actually Rory O'Bannon, a man who once assaulted him in a hate crime, and believes the invasion may be a personal vendetta disguised as prophecy. Rory be doing too much.
Far too much.
As guilt and tension grow among the remaining intruders, a news report the next day reveals a rapidly spreading flu variant. In response, Adrian is sacrificed. Bye, Adrian!
Bye.
Adrian!
Hope you find your
Apocalypse.
Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
Andrew manages to escape briefly and wounds Sabrina with a gun before she flees.
Later, when Sabrina breaks back into the cabin, Andrew shoots and wounds her. Leonard then finishes her off. Bye, Sabrina!
Girl, bye! Bye, get out, get out.
Andrew then confirms his suspicion by finding Redmond's wallet and proving he was Rory. Fuck you, Rory, I'm glad you're dead. He confronts Leonard in the bathroom, but Leonard disarms him.
Another news broadcast shows a series of unexplained plane crashes happening around the world. Leonard tells them their time is almost up, and once he dies, they will have only minutes to decide. He then slits his own throat. As he dies, lightning strikes, igniting fires, and more planes fall from the sky.
Eric becomes convinced the intruders were telling the truth and believes they represented the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which, to be fair, at this point, I think I would have believed him too.
Do you believe in life after
Apocalypse.
Not wanting Wen to live in a world of chaos and ruin, Eric offers himself as the sacrifice. Before he dies, he sees a vision of Andrew and Wen in the future, safe and happy, which strengthens his belief that their family was chosen for a higher purpose. Andrew, devastated but determined, fulfills Eric's wish and shoots him.
Andrew and Wen later arrive at a busy diner where news coverage confirms that the catastrophes have suddenly stopped. In the parking lot, they find the intruders' truck filled with items that prove their story was true. With heavy hearts but hope for the future, Andrew and Wen drive away together.
Are you ready? Ready? Are you ready? To talk about ratings? Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about our ratings?
Yeah.
All right. What did you give Plot?
I gave Plot a 2. I said it's a unique plot, but ultimately very frustrating because is the apocalypse happening or not? Why does there have to be this family? I have this complaint a lot with Shyamalan. He can set up a good premise, but it kind of falls short midway with weird explanations and dragging out what we do understand. How about you?
I also gave it a 2. I said, I found the plot to be both unique and interesting with conflicting motivations of our characters. I found that the trauma felt by our protagonist was handled with care and helped shed some light on their decisions and thoughts toward the situation. Where the movie falters is in the ending question of whether or not the apocalypse actually was happening. For me, the events were too specific to believe that it could have just been a coincidence.
Yeah, the whole time I get really mad because I'm just like, you could just say anything. Like, like bad things happen everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
So
Well, these were like so specific though. Like,
yeah, I guess towards the end, towards the end. But like when he was showing it and it said pre-recorded at one point, I was like, okay, well, you're a liar. Like,
right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've seen this once before, and I was just mad the whole time. I was like, why don't we just, let them kill themselves and be like, cool, like this happened. Like,
exactly. I guess for me, where do you fall on, was the apocalypse actually happening or was it a coincidence? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, that like it was meant to be like, was it happening? Wasn't it happening? Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like they're trying to lean towards the very end, like with the ending scene with Leonard and like the very end of them driving away and finding their truck and stuff. It's supposed to confirm that, they weren't frauds or, they were real people and they just all came together to do this. I'm like, crazy people can also be nurses and teachers though. Like it's not like a 1-to-1 either or. So yeah, I think that they're trying to leave it up to like, yeah, was it really happening or was it really just a coincidence that planes were falling from the sky? And I don't know, given like the beginning of the year, like when planes were falling out of the sky, I'm like, I mean, it wasn't that many, but
yeah, it literally just happened last week. At the time of recording, it just happened again.
Yeah, so it's not like impossible. So I don't know. The whole time I was very much like, even if it was happening, I don't think I could kill a family member to be like,
oh yeah,
to stop the end of the world. I'm going to take my chances.
I know. That's why in the notes I was like, oh no, humanity.
Right.
I don't know. I feel in my head, I feel like I would be convinced by the time we're getting to the end. Like, what are the odds? Okay, so these massive tsunamis, this deadly plague, planes falling out of the sky. Like the lightning struck that area like 20 times in the matter of 5 minutes.
That is true.
You're right. Like obviously crazy things happen all the time, but like that was so coincidental. I feel like if the idea of the movie was to make you question whether or not it was actually happening, I feel like it was too heavy-handed towards like it may have been happening. I don't know. I haven't read the book, but I think it's more subtle in the book.
Yeah. I think they also kill off Gwen in the book, and I'm like, that's a choice. Like,
right. Which I feel like that would be more devastating if they made that choice in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I don't know if they had to die, because what bothered me about like the logistics of it all is they're like, oh yeah, these plagues and everything's happening, these catastrophes, and then they kill each other and they're like, humanity has been judged. It like as if they're the trigger. And I'm like, why? If you don't do it, no one dies. Like,
that's exactly, yes, exactly. Like when they're offing each other, like what if you just don't do that?
Right.
Yeah, I had that same thought. I'm like, you don't have to do that.
Like you're forcing it. So like, I don't know. That's what bothers me. Like the logistics of it all. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, so it goes more towards villain, I guess we'll get there. But like, yeah, they don't have to, but these people are so convinced, like it doesn't matter whether or not it would actually happen, because they convince themselves there's nothing you could do about it. And I do like, I mean, it makes me sad that Eric died, don't get me wrong, but I do like the idea that you would have never known one way or the other how this would have played out, because you fulfilled the thing, so you stopped the apocalypse, but would it have even happened?
Yeah.
So I do like that idea.
I guess so. I was also thinking too, like, what if they gave in immediately and they were like, wow, I mean, I guess we're going to have to kill one of ourselves. and somebody, like, Andrew shoots Eric, and would they all just like shake his hands and be like, good job. You did what the crazy people asked to do. Like,
yeah, I mean, basically that, yeah.
And that's essentially what happened too. Like, cause we don't know for sure if it was or wasn't, but
yeah. And I like that ambiguity. I just wish it was actually in the movie more ambiguous, because I feel like it was just way too everything that was happening was like, okay, there's no way you could predict.
Yeah.
They're like, look at the TV, and it happened like 4 times. I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
or I
That's
think
where
it
it
would
got
be,
kind of boring too, because I was like, okay, now one of them will kill them. Like,
yeah,
and then I'm like, okay, now. And they don't, they kind of like shy away from it too. Like they put the mask over their head. And I mean, I guess I know Shyamalan doesn't get like super gory,
mhm,
but it was kind of like, well, you're going to make this big impact that like just killing this person is going to start an apocalypse. So it's
mhm.
kind of weird to be like, put the mask over their head and just kind of
Yeah.
redirect. Speaking of which, what do you have for suspense?
So I gave suspense a 1. This was a very good segue to this topic. I said the beginning of the movie is the most suspenseful part. Once you find that the villain in the movie won't kill our protagonist, the suspense really goes down. The ticking time of waiting for Eric or Andrew to make a decision could be suspenseful, but the repetitive nature of the indecision and then the following consequences of the movie drags by the end, and I honestly didn't care if the world ended at that point. You know, to what we were just kind of talking about, it just kept like, they didn't make a decision, one of them dies. Catastrophe. Didn't make a decision. One of them dies. Catastrophe.
Right.
By the end, I'm like, I don't even care. But what did you give suspense?
Yeah, I gave it a 1 as well. I said the decision to sacrifice a family member is daunting, but the people are systematically killing each other to release another disaster, so you could wait them out. The real suspense comes from having to decide if the apocalypse is really happening, and given the scenario, I just don't see a lot of people choosing to believe them over saving a loved one. Also, I think they picked like the worst people for the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Like, Leonard's way too nice. What's his face? O'Brien or whatever, Redmond.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Weasley
Ron Weasley
is super aggressive and then also has like this past trauma with Andrew, so of course he's not going to believe him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
then the one girl, they were saying that they were debating if she lied about having a son, and I'm like, I think she did, because she comes across like so nervous, and she'll just like, I'll say anything because I know I'm next.
Right. Again, once you kind of get to know what's going on, you're like, okay, well, so we're just gonna wait this out then. I feel like they wanted you to feel more tense than I ended up feeling. So,
Right.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just think if that was the intent, they missed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there should have been like a little bit more escape attempts. Like, what would happen if they just all left the cabin, and then like
Mhm.
left these people to deal with their own devices? Would they just kill each other, or they'll be like, no, we have to be in front of the family when we kill each other? So
Okay.
it feels like a little too predictable by the end. So then it's just not suspenseful at all. So
Mhm. Yeah.
even
I'm
with
with
the impending apocalypse with the double lightning and everything, like,
Okay. Do it.
I'm like, I guess. I mean,
Just end it.
it wasn't like it was that great to start. So
Yeah. I'll die in this cabin. Whatever. What did you have for atmosphere?
I had a 1. I said it's a nice cabin, but isolated with a lot of possible entry points for break-ins, apparently.
Hello, windows.
Yeah, like they really go to town. Like as soon as they decide to get in, they're like coming from all aspects of the house. And I mean, it's not creepy in that sense, just apparently very easy to break into. How about you?
Okay.
Yeah, like I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, a cabin. Like,
Yeah, I gave it a 1 too. I said the picturesque cabin is calming, and I would honestly love to stay there. The seclusion and lack of help might add to the scariness, but the actual cabin itself looks delightful. It looks so calm and peaceful. So I was like, this is not scary.
Yeah.
Just the sense because it's away from civilization, like that's always a little scary. Like, what if something happens? But
right.
I'm like, great, this is amazing. I want to be here.
Yes. Yeah. Looks lovely. Looks like a great time. Hope no
no
strangers
notes.
come. Like,
Right.
What did you have for the villain?
I gave it a 2. I said, our villain's conviction and unwavering belief in their visions is terrifying. But once we learned that they won't kill Andrew, Eric, or Wen, realistically, all they had to do was wait out the time, and if they would, and did destroy themselves.
I gave it a 1. I said once the initial break-in is over, these people are not really a threat. They have an urgent, hey, pal kind of attitude, especially Leonard, but are essentially just average people convinced of the coming apocalypse. They promise not to harm anyone and only are a threat to each other when Eric and Andrew don't make a decision. If you believe the apocalypse is happening, maybe that's the real villain, but it's a big if.
Yeah, I could definitely see giving it a 1. I just feel like it's almost scarier that they're just like these nice people, but they're so like
hell-bent on doing this.
Yeah, like that's scary because then they're just like any other people, and yeah, they're not going to kill them, but I mean, they do show them like hurting them at least. So like, I will shoot you in the leg if you try to escape. So that situation that they're held hostage is like still really scary. But again, I couldn't like give it a full 3 because like all you had to do is wait for them to off themselves, and then you're kind of scot free.
Yeah.
But so like in that sense of like winning over them, it's like a 0 because like you just gotta wait.
Right.
But just the psyche and like what they believe, like that's scary. So I kind of just like fell in the middle because that freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I do give it the eeriness for them being so normal, but it also takes away from how scary they are too, because like if you don't escape, they're not going to hurt you. And then
Yeah.
2, they're taking care of them in between. Like they make Wen dinner or breakfast at one point. They, they bandage up Eric from the concussion and stuff. So they take relatively good care of them. And then, by the way, now it's time to kill somebody. And then we just move back on to like, we'll clean it up. Don't worry about anything. Don't you lift a finger. The hospitality is very strange.
Right, they're very nice, but I think maybe this is what it is for me. I think it's like not necessarily scary in the sense of like they're gonna hurt you scary, but just the thought of like this is what could happen to somebody if they're fall down a rabbit hole and believe something enough.
Yeah.
So more of that concept is what's scary, because I mean, again, these are just like everyday people. This could happen to anyone.
Right.
So like not necessarily the danger aspect of the villain, but just like where their mind is. I'm like, I ain't touching that.
Yeah. I think even Eric points out at one point, like you all met on an online chat.
A forum. Yeah.
So you guys are suffering like a group delusion or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, I did find it funny too. Like they name the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which I'm not sure what their designated categories really are, but it was like wrath, nurturing,
it's not correct.
care, and guidance. And I was like, that doesn't feel right at all.
No, there's like famine, death, something.
Yeah, I thought they were like bad ones. Like,
let me pull it up real quick. They represent conquest, war, famine, and death.
Yes.
And the only like negative one
was wrath.
Movie was wrath, and that was Redmond. I'm like, okay, why is he like the bad one? And then nurturing, caring, love, peace, joy.
I'm like, no,
that's not correct.
That's not really how the apocalypse starts. I don't think. Like,
not quite.
It's not because everyone was so loving and peaceful.
Nice try. Did you give the movie your extra point?
I didn't. I really don't care for this, honestly.
You don't like this movie?
I don't like this movie. No, it made me very angry when I initially watched it. Like, I was big mad. And then, like, now knowing what happened, I kind of got over it. But still, I was like, just wait them out. Or I don't know, do something.
Okay.
But what about you?
I do like this movie. I think I understand where you're coming from, but I like the kind of thesis of this movie, I guess you could say. I do like the idea of like you don't necessarily know. Again, I think I like the idea a little bit more than the execution. And I do like, we didn't really talk about it all that much, but there are like elements of their backstory, especially with like Andrew being, the hate crime with Andrew. So I do like those elements incorporated and kind of get to know our characters. And it does kind of tie into like why maybe Eric is more susceptible to believe and why Andrew's like, no. And the whole adoption with Ren is, a sad moment because they have to pretend like, oh, this is my wife's brother.
Yeah,
so
my wife couldn't make it. Like,
yeah, so we didn't really talk about those scenes, but I really think that enhanced the movie too. I enjoy it. I think it's a simple premise, and I think it was handled pretty well. So yeah, I give it the extra special point. And I do think like if realistically, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, like this is a terrifying situation. Like, yeah, they say they're not going to hurt me, but maybe they will, or maybe they will. I don't know. These people are crazy. So I gave it the point. I do enjoy this movie.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I like you said, on paper there are like concept wise it's good, but like the setup with the family, but then when they don't overcome it and then they have to like kill off a family member, I feel like it kind of just like throws that all to the wayside. Like, but no, we have to focus on this apocalypse thing. It's not like a family coming together to overcome it, and I don't know. I think that's what kind of ruins it for me. Like, I would rather them like overcome it somehow and then be like left to the, well, did we really trigger the apocalypse kind of thing? Or are we just going to continue on?
I hate to say I enjoy that one of them died. It's not like I'm like, yay, they died. But
they justify it. But yeah.
I just like, okay, well, we'll never know. You know, like maybe they didn't have to. I like it. So.
I also get frustrated with Eric because like the whole time he's just like, yes, I finally understand. I see the vision. I'm like, you got a concussion. Like, please stop.
Knock it off, sir.
And she's like, stop talking to him. Like,
I definitely could see that being very frustrating because I would be like, I'm not killing you. Bye.
Sit down. Stop this.
I'm going to tie you back up myself. This is nonsense. So adding them up, I gave it a 7 and you gave it a 5. It checks out. It's not like super scary. But I think it's middle of the road. I think I'm okay with the 7.
Yeah. I mean, if you like the family aspect, like it is a nice one for like Pride Month and everything too, with the same-sex couple and their child and everything. They have a lovely like adoption backstory too. It's very sweet how they all come together. But if you're not going to be upset about them like completely throwing that out the window at the end, like, yeah, that's kind of why it's 50-50 for me.
Throwing it out. You just threw the whole thing
Stop
out.
it!
Wasted it. Ruined it.
Soiled it.
Soiled it. Soiled it. Soiled it.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful. We'll always appreciate it. If you are watching the YouTube version, you could like and comment on this video, and you could always let us know what you'd like us to cover next.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.